Good morning, everyone. My name is Mighty Stream, and today is October the 28th. It's about 5:30 in the morning. I'm brought to you by Hope Through Navigation, and this is our Hood Recovery Services. I really hope that you're having a beautiful morning. Thank you for starting it out with me. If you need to reach me, feel free to do so at recoveryofhope21@gmail.com. Now let's go ahead and get into the spiritual principle a day in a meditation. I am going to read all of this for you. Let's go for it, okay? October 28th, spiritual principle a day. Freedom wherever we are. The ability to grow spiritually enables us to find freedom even within the walls of a cell. Our greatest freedom is not outside ourselves, but within. Guiding Principles, Tradition 5, Opening Essay. Baby, this is going to be good. This is going to be good. All right. Whew, freedom is a hot topic for the month of October, guys. It is a hot topic. Oh, man. Okay, freedom. Many addicts first hear our message of hope while incarcerated, often thanks to the hard work of our H&I trusted servants. One member shared, "When I got out, I heard someone share about a self-made prison, and I was mad at first. They didn't know what it was like to be on the inside. But the more I came to meetings and heard addicts share about the disease, I realized that we had more in common than I thought. Just being out didn't mean I was free yet." Freedom comes in many forms: the ability to come and go freely as we wish, a right denied when or if we are incarcerated is just one of those forms. True statement. We can experience mental, emotional, or spiritual freedom wherever we go or wherever we stay. One member wrote, "I thought freedom meant doing whatever I wanted whenever I wanted, as long as I stayed clean. But I felt trapped by my impulses. I found it impossible to say no to myself, even when my behavior had consequences. When I told my sponsor I wanted to stop blank, but didn't know how, they told me to sit with the impulse and see if I could learn something from it. I sat with it and didn't react on it. And I learned that I could survive the feeling. The feeling passed, and I felt light. I felt free." I'm right here if you're following with me. The most obvious freedom we gain in recovery is physical. We can gain freedom from our compulsive use of drugs. That physical freedom, that changed behavior, has a corresponding inner component: the peace of mind that comes with no longer being trapped in obsession and self-centeredness. We are free to think of something other than where our next fix is coming from. We are free to feel something other than despair. We are free. Wherever I am, whatever is going on around me, I will seek inner freedom by letting thoughts and feelings come and go without disturbing my peace, without throwing me off balance. Beautiful meditation. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful meditation. And maybe it's your first one of the day. I'm not sure what order you listen to the podcast, but for some reason, I just want to do a moment of silence with this one as well. So let's go ahead and take a moment of silence now, followed by the we version of the Serenity Prayer. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things that we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. just for today. Please and thank you. Wow. This meditation is really a continuance of the just for today. This spiritual principle of freedom, wherever we are, right, is important because a lot of times we're locked in a self-made prison and we don't understand or appreciate just how powerful having the key to release ourselves is. We forget that we even have the key in our pocket. We forget that it's on our keychain, that we actually have the key of Narcotics Anonymous that has given us spiritual principles to apply in all of our affairs. And we can just use, not just because it's bigger than just, but we have the ability to use that key at any point in time. We can unlock the barriers, the issues that are keeping us in bondage at any point in time. Okay, so you have a sex problem. You're addicted to sex. You're addicted to food. You're addicted to attention. Oh my goodness, my class, I'm learning so much about the different personality disorders and narcissism. Oh my goodness, there's people that are addicted or histrionic that are addicted to attention. Everything has to be about them. Maybe you're addicted to gambling. There's so many things like this individual, this recovering person said, I told my sponsor I wanted to stop blank, but didn't know how. And the sponsor said, sit with the impulse and see what you can learn from it. Just sit down with it. The sponsor is wise because the sponsor is saying, okay, just sit in that. Instead of responding, just sit in it. Next time it comes up, maybe you'll respond in 30 minutes, but when it comes up, instead of doing what you normally do, just sit with that. Analyze it. Let it talk to you and actually hear what it says to you. The sponsor is recommending meditation. So I want you to do the same thing. The next time you have an impulse, maybe you're going to the kitchen and you're eating every 2 hours. Okay. You're always grabbing something to eat and you're not even hungry. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it could be anything. So just choose what it is, what you know personally that you're struggling with. So I don't have to spend time trying to give you ideals. You know what it is. So why don't you sit with it? Let's take this recommendation of this spiritual advisor. We'll call them our spiritual advisor. The next time it comes up, we're going to sit with it and see what the impulse has to say. See what we can learn from it. And when you get quiet and you get still, knowing goodness well that you would normally grab your keys and move on the impulse, or grab your pocketbook and move, or your credit card and move on the impulse, right? So instead of doing that this time, stay still with it and see what it reveals to you about you. See, if you're anything like me, if I sit still with an impulse long enough, it generally passes. It generally passes. And what surfaces when I sit with it is love and compassion and mercy and kindness and faithfulness and gentleness for myself, peace of mind. Just even talking about it puts me on chill. Just having this conversation with you causes me to slow down, have peace. It's affecting me just even talking about it. Because when I sit with my impulses, I no longer see them as things that even deserve for me to act upon them. When I sit with my impulses, I truly feel that they come from the lower destructive power. I can see and now understand that what it's trying to get me to do is not for life. It's not for health. It's not for recovery. It's trying to get me backed up into a corner that I cannot get out of, clean, or sometimes even alive, or I can come out of it, but the quality of living as a result of that impulse and acting on it puts me in a position of where now I'm in bondage. I can't even talk about the fact that I have this issue because I'm ashamed of it. Do you see where we're going here? We want to get in a position where we can take the advice of this meditation and sit with our impulse, because if we sit with it long enough, it's going to tell us why it is with us. It's going to tell us why it came. And then when you see it for what it's really worth, start training yourself to respond differently. Hmm. Especially when we go to conventions, because we have a really big habit of talking the talk, but not really walking it. Talking about the fact that we're free and come to find out that we're really not. I've seen whole married men go to conventions and they wife think they just hanging out with the brothers, but in actuality, they done picked some chick up in the meeting that's a newcomer, and sometimes not even a newcomer. They done picked a girl up in the meeting, and they doing a whole convention with a woman, a whole individual that is not even their marriage partner, that they not even married to, and they might be speaking in the workshop. Come on now, ain't no I'm talking from my own experience. I'm telling you from my own story that moving on them impulses always put me in bondage, always landed me in jail mentally. But today I understand that I can sit with it, I can look at it, I can hear what it has to say, and I can respond with a no thank you. I mean, we're not doing that today. I'm not doing that today. That's not going to happen. No. You know, my husband, he's in recovery too. He does make meetings though. So that's real fun, right? My husband, every time I leave the house, he asks me what I'm doing. Sometimes I'm on my phone and he'll ask me, who I'm communicating with, and I tell him. And sometimes if he see I'm on Facebook, he want to look at my phone and say, and I already know, I already peep game what he doing, right? He's wondering whether or not I'm actually being faithful to him. And he has no reason to believe or think differently, right? Maybe his own conscience, but it don't have anything to do with what I'm really doing, right? And I enjoy him, I enjoy him trying to check over my shoulder and see what I'm doing. And I allow him to look at my phone, keep my phone. Sometimes I'll tell him I need your phone because my phone's not charged, and I'll leave mine laying there face up. So if you want to pick it up, he can get right into it. But sometimes I think to myself, if I told him, or I really followed the impulse, right? If I really followed the impulse of responding the way that I'm thinking, which is different than what I'm sharing with you. I'm telling you what I do. But my thought is, what's wrong? I mean, like, to me, if you're so worried, what are you worried about? Yeah, I have given you no reason to think that or be worried about that. My response wants to come with a bad attitude, but I realize that marriage is a gift. Marriage is a opportunity to practice faithfulness. It's an opportunity to practice unconditional love, to love a person in health and in sickness. Marriage is an opportunity to truly apply spiritual principles. I have no desire for anyone else. I have a husband that I deeply love, and the feeling is mutual. But do we get on each other's nerves? Absolutely. My most dark impulse is my sarcasm, is my tongue, and it can cut like a knife. But as a result of being in the program, I have learned that I do not have to give into the impulse to tell somebody off every time. I think they deserve it, right? I don't have to respond to that. When he says something that has no basis, I don't have to. There's times when I do now, but I don't have to respond to that, because when I do give him a what's for, I always have to turn back and do the 10th step, because I always end up feeling like now I have a weight. I have a chain and ball around my ankle that's called, whatever every spiritual principle has another side, right? So if I am having faith in our relationship, the other side of that is fear. If I'm expressing love, the opposite, the darkness of that is hate. If I am, you think about it, just think about it for yourself, because I know for me that if I respond to the impulse of verbally harming an individual, that I use words when I look at it and I sit with it. And I'm going to end here soon, because this is getting to be a lot longer than I want. But when I sit with that impulse of having to tell people exactly what I'm thinking and not in kind words, when I sit with that, guess what I see? I see fear. I see fear. I don't see pride. I don't see anger. I see fear. And I use my words to stop people in their tracks, to make sure that they don't get too close to me. They don't err on the side of bad judgment and come too close with their behavior, because after the words come the physical response. And I understand that that's post-traumatic stress disorder for me, but they may not understand it. So when I sit with my impulse and my desire to tell someone off, it's like a warning sign. I'm trying to let you know I'm not as spiritual as you might think I might be. And you might want to stop yourself. Don't come too close in here into my little bubble, because you're going to find yourself laying flat, right? So it's like a warning to them. But even more so, it should be a warning to myself, right? You're about to lock yourself back up in a mental prison, and you don't need to be. You're free right now. You're free. You don't even have to use the words. You don't even have to give it to them like that. You don't even have to respond like that. Nobody dictates how I respond but me. And if I choose to be non-responsive, it's because I'm probably trying to take some time to figure it out before I cause harm. Right? I'm not trying to add people to my 8th and 9th step just because, or even my 10th step. I'm not trying to do that every day. So this is about change, and this is about freedom, and hopefully you're hearing the spirit of what I'm trying to say. I'm giving you my own experience, strength, and hope, so that you can look at your stuff and you can say, okay, now this is what I need to change. Me personally, I'm not really sure. I have some people that critique me when I do these podcasts, and I'm not really sure what their intention is, right? because this is my experience, strength, and hope. This is how I talk. This is my life, and I want to share my personal time in the morning that I do meditation, right? These meditations, these readings, because this is not our 11th step, our conscious contact, right? Because there's no need to talk to anyone when I'm doing that. But when I'm doing these readings, these daily meditations, I am enjoying sharing it and talking it out in my head. And hopefully you are able to make a correlation to your life. I'm not getting paid to do this. I'm not if I fail some kind of way in the recording, I'll redo it. Sometimes I do several takes, but nobody is paying me to do these meditations. This is my life. This is my life. And I want to make sure that you understand that I'm sharing my life with you, but the whole purpose is for you to now, after we've had this meeting called a podcast, what about you? What about the keys to freedom that are in your pocket? What about the behaviors and the things that you do that cause yourself, your inner self, to be locked up? But instead, today, you have these tools. And as it says, wherever I am, so let's change that. Wherever you are, whatever is going around you, you will seek inner freedom by letting thoughts and feelings come and go without disturbing your peace, without throwing you off balance. It's very important that we learn how to live this on a day-to-day basis and apply it in our own individual lives. My name is Mighty Stream. I've enjoyed talking to you today. Today, be free. Today, I want you to be free and practice freedom on purpose. Have a beautiful day.